Did you ever wonder what it would be like to be one of the last people on Earth?
We're talking Ghost Town!
Who would you see?
There's nobody. There's nobody.
What would you do?
Hey, I'm sorry if the end of the world makes me a little nervous.
Where would you go?
The stars are open!
Well, get ready to find out, because the comet is coming into your orbit.
The legal drinking age is now 10, but you will need ID. Let's be real.
It's the night of the comet.
What do you give me if I come back?
Texas?
Night of the comet.
I'll be taking requests from all you teenage comet zombies.
The night the teenagers ruled the world.
Yeah!
Night of the comet.
The burden of civilization is on us.
Fiction, isn't it?
The last time we got together, I think, or maybe the time before that, I'd watched some movies around 40th anniversary of stuff. I want to say Mrs. Mac wanted to watch Return of the Living Dead, wasn't it?
Oh, I'd be down for that.
Maybe.
I think it was.
Didn't we let her pick or some shit?
Huh?
Send more cops.
Well, it was between this and Night of the Comet, and I was kind of steering toward Night of the Comet because I thought she might like that better. I don't get the impression she actually liked it at all, though, right? Was she not? She wasn't into it when we watched it, was she?
I thought she thought it was just okay.
Yeah, and you had no experience with it.
Everybody's freaking out because there's a big comet that's going to pass by the Earth. They're having like comet parties and whatnot. Chick messing around with some dude. They fall asleep in like the reel-to-reel room for the movie theater, right? The projection booth. That saves them from the comet's effects. Comet sort of turns people into proto-zombies and...
Yeah, the ones who weren't directly exposed to it. People
but people who were directly exposed just turned into like red dust.
Because there's a plot point where Sam, the younger sister, hides out in the utility shed out behind the house, which is supposed to be lead or steel or something. But she may not have gotten full protection because she may have been exposed and maybe slowly drying out and becoming these comet zombies. The title of the movie was Teenage Comet Zombies, but it's more of a euphemistic zombie rather than a literal one. Because while they look a little bit and act like zombies, if you shoot them, they're still going to die. It's just they're crazy and they're probably a little cannibalistic and they look jacked up, but they're not undead.
So 8 days later,
they eventually find out,
and they are fast, quote unquote, zombies too.
There's like an underground bunker of scientists who are going out and finding people who weren't exposed because the scientists have all been exposed via open air vent to the dust. So they're trying to find the people who weren't exposed and like farm their blood to extend their life. They get the heroine and her sister and they capture them, and there's a whole thing that takes place.
Escape from the compound. What were you saying about the ending on Night of the Comet?
Oh, so I hadn't seen that movie in a long time, and like I told you, I wanted to watch at least up to where they get to the facility. But since y'all bailed, I didn't realize that they were capturing people who survivors and putting them in comas to keep them generating blood to help create the serum. And they were about to murder 2 children and telling them, "Oh, you're gonna go see Santa. Matter of fact, you're going to live with Santa." And I'm like, dude, that's fucked up. And I totally forgot that scene. Yeah, the movie was pretty fucked up, but it was still. I watched the whole movie. I enjoyed it. God, I miss the 80s.
How were you exposed to Night of the Comet?
I literally saw it on TV in like the 80s.
Channel 13, that movie?
I told you, dude, there was the whole Halley's Comet thing. So I remember Halley's Comet. I remember this movie coming on. Isn't there another Comet movie, something like that, similar to this one?
I mean, there's Year of the Comet, but it's not similar at all.
No,
it's not like a romantic comedy.
No, there's another movie that it's a horror movie. It has to do with comets or a comet.
I mean, maybe like a post-apocalyptic one. You think?
I can't remember because I meant to tell you. So you were like, let's talk about RoboCop and Terminator. I ended up watching the Violator, the RoboCop ripoff where he goes into space. They create a spacesuit and he's going to go to Mars, and they need someone to test it, so they kill one of the scientists, or supposedly kill one of the scientists, so they can put
Walter Koenig from Star Trek.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because this one is one where he's like, it almost looks like, and this sounds weird, if you ever played with G.I. Joes and Cobra Commander had a secondary suit suit that was a silver suit.
Sure, the lesser one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's actually the third suit because he had the dome mask, and then later he had the cloth mask. And then
Okay, yes. Okay, I'll give you that third one. So it kind of looks like that. And so they built this suit so you could go to Mars and survive in it. And they put this guy in it and he's getting revenge. And it was really good. And then I ended up starting watching another one where he had like military treads and he's an android.
Mm-hmm.
That one I just...
part of the team, right?
Yeah, that one I just watched like the clips on YouTube. But I kind of went down this rabbit hole of all these kind of like 80s horror sci-fi movies. I rewatched like I Come in Peace, which I hadn't seen in 1,000 years. I ended up watching the one with Kyle, what's his name, from Twin Peaks.
The Hidden.
The Hidden. Dude, that movie was dope. I just started watching a bunch of 80s horror movies. They're like within like a 4-day span. It just one after shit I haven't seen, dude. I don't know why. I just kind of went on a tear.
It was cute. I
Which
liked
one?
it had Brian Denman in it from Dream On, and it was him and Dolph Lundgren with cops.
Yeah.
And then they had the big. And mostly I just liked that one because the name is cool. Like I'm in Peace. Then it's running around
Come
with
in
bus
Peace.
and it had Brian Denman in it. But The Hidden is a real gem. That's one of those movies that people discover. It was one that it didn't have the most compelling box cover. It had like the split image of a person like with different colors, and he just had the hidden down the middle of it. A lot of people didn't pay attention to that one. I ended up watching it because I was a Twin Peaks fan. It was a Kyle MacLachlan movie. But that's one of those like cult movies that people just rediscover every so many years. Kind of like a They Live.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh crap, this is actually really great.
Oh, it was a great movie, especially the scene where they're chasing him in the Ferrari, I think it was. It was fucking badass. So I was just like, dude, these movies, I enjoyed that weekend. It was such great movies I was watching.
Mac, you've seen The Hidden, right?
No chance. There's zero chance I've seen
Zero
it.
chance, really? That's maybe one to add to the 80s list.
All right. I'm sending the text now.
So, getting back to Night of the Comet, though. Now, I watched it on Channel 13. I think it was the late night movie.
I'm thinking like 39 or 26 for me.
I think it was 13. I remember distinctly watching it on Channel 13, usually on Friday or Saturday nights, usually quite late. I think it would usually start, it wouldn't be the 10 o'clock movie, it'd be like the midnight movie, and it would run until 2-ish.
I mean, you could be right. I mean, most movies I watched of that caliber were either VHS pickups, where the box art got you and you picked it up, or like you said, I remember watching like the late movie, and that, I was always excited because it was kind of a Russian roulette of movies. Like, am I gonna get The Last Unicorn, or I'm gonna get some fucked up weird movie I'm not gonna like? So,
well, what you'd have is the UHF channels would get the real nasty stuff and the just crap. 13 would run like stuff that was successful. Like you would watch, they have Friday the 13th. Most Friday the 13th, they would have at least one of the movies, usually the first one, but at least the first 3, typically back in the 80s. They didn't have Nightmares. I think Nightmares tended to stay in primetime. Like that was popular enough and made enough money. But Friday the 13th, you could show late at night because they only had so much value, I think, in terms of like putting asses in seats kind of thing. And I don't know why Night of the Comet, in my experience, didn't end up on UHF because it's a super low budget movie. That thing cost less than $1 million in 1984.
you can tell. I mean, it's mostly shot in a mall or empty streets.
Yeah, they definitely stole a lot of the movie, or a lot of it was in, like you said, back alleys, warehouses, sound stages, that kind of thing. But it looks pretty good for a movie that costs less than $1 million.
Now, why was there a tent the whole time?
What do you mean a tent?
Like there's a red tent in the sky.
Well, that's to show the effect of the comet.
So basically,
Probably a filter.
No, but okay, you already know it's one of my favorite movies. Maximum Overdrive. Alien ship hiding in a comet. The sky turns green. Machines come to life. So that's the whole point. Is like that green is that radiation that's keeping the
Is that the
machines
one you were
alive.
thinking of earlier?
Of what?
You're saying there's another comet movie.
It might have been that one, yeah. Because I remember there was a
It
movie.
wasn't a comet, though, I don't think. Was it?
Yeah, it was a comet. There was a comet
Okay.
that was passing by. Sky turns green.
Could try again.
Machines come to life.
Like that one.
Because at the very end, when they escape and they're on the boat, and it talks about how a secret military satellite shot at the comet and blew up the alien, and the sky eventually cleared up. I just remember thinking, because when you watch this movie, I remember the scene. I remember distinctly the scene where it rains and it washes away all the sand or what's left of humanity, like the dirt.
Technically, in reality, brick dust.
Yeah, and so I mean, I like the red tent because it gives you the sense that I always thought that the red tent was clouds of humans still floating in the sky.
yeah.
And so they're kind of walking away. They're walking around in a giant urn. The Earth is just a giant urn full of little remnants of humans. So okay, that was a good movie, man. I sat there. Not once that I like kind of. It's very lean movie. There's not a lot of fat on it. It's just like boom, let's go, boom, let's go, boom, let's go, boom. So enjoyed it quite a bit.
And you were talking earlier that one of the things that the movie does well, especially the first time you see it, and I'm much more naive watching in the late 80s as far as narrative tropes. So you got the Mary Warnoff character, who's one of the main scientists, and she seems to be the person who's most resistant to helping people, and she doesn't want to go out and look for people. She doesn't want to help people. She's the drag, the wet blanket. And they set her up to be like the bad guy because there's a lot of very pointed elements where they leave parts of the conversation out. They're not telling you the whole story. And you were asking me not that long ago about why she
turned. Yeah.
Why'd she kill the girl? Or why didn't she kill the girl?
Well, yeah, she didn't. She put her to sleep.
Yeah. And it's because the other scientists were out voting her to go out and get people like her to harvest their blood, and she was trying to save her and Hector.
Well, she came to realize that she wasn't infected.
No, she is.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
No, she's not.
Oh, you mean the girl is?
The girl's not infected. Yeah, no.
That's what they're playing with, is that they make you, she has skin condition.
Yeah.
Makes her break out when she's anxious. And of course, the end of the world makes you kind of anxious. And so they make you wonder if she's going to turn into a zombie like the rest of them. And then she gives her an injection that's apparently a lethal injection. And it isn't until toward the very end of the movie you find out that she actually is still alive. And then she just gave her like
a sedative to go to sleep.
Yeah. And
because the other guy was like, "Did you take care of her?" And she's like, "What? Did you expect me to take her out back and put one to her head?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, we should probably wait for the other guy. He's coming." And she's like, "No, he's not coming. He doesn't exist. No, I think we should probably go to the race station." And that's where she kind of starts giving pushback, where she's like, "This isn't right." And he starts kind of like
reaching for his gun,
slowly tapping. And then she whips out her little 22 and pops him in the head. And then Raul shows up and she's injected or something. That's where she drives.
You're calling him Raul. So you've seen Eating Raul up.
Yes.
That's your kind of flick anyway.
Oh, dude, I know her because I know her from the video Suicide Tendencies. Mm-hmm. Eating Raul. Like, I don't know how
she does those culty movies.
Yeah, But what was that fat bald guy she always popped up with? Always played her husband.
I know what I'm talking about, right? But I can't tell you what his name is.
He's a famous character actor. He pops up in music videos as well. I only remember him and her from that movie, Eating Raul. Mm-hmm. Nice catch. I didn't think you'd catch that. So,
well, and one thing too is that when they hired Robert Beltran for the movie, they wanted him to play it as Raul. They wanted him to do like a heavy accent, be from the barrio, all that kind of good shit. And he kept turning them down. Like, the money probably wasn't that good, and he wasn't the lead actor anyway. Although because when they finally hired him, he does get top billing in the movie. I guess he was the biggest name they had as one of the stars. But he insisted, no, I don't want to play some Chicano from the barrio, any of that kind of stuff. I'm not playing Raul again. This is how I'm going to play the role if we're going to do this. And he had to remind their producers every now and again that we had an agreement. I'm not doing that. But it's nice because you do have Latin representation. He fought to make sure that they went to a house. They wanted a nice house in the neighborhood, someplace that looked like his own family could have lived in and stuff. And he really fought for his representation. I think it's a really nice instance of representation, especially for 1984, right? I mean, the dude, again, he played Raul. This is a much different character that he's playing here. You into Robert Beltran at all?
No, I mean,
I'm a Voyager guy, right?
No, yeah, I remember him from Voyager.
You weren't. That wasn't like your favorite Star Trek or anything, though. That was
favorite Star Trek.
Nobody's favorite Star Trek.
I liked Voyager. No, Voyager. Voyager was dope, dude.
There's some Janeway people out there.
Yeah. Come on, dude. They fucked with Cube. They fucked with the Borg.
Domestic terrorists like
they had the Seven. What's her name?
7 of 9.
7 of 9.
That's what saves that show for a lot of people. Me too. I like 7 of 9 too.
I like Janeway. What was his name? His name was
Chakotay.
Chakotay.
Of course, I think he was Native American, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Was he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had a black Vulcan. The brother was down.
No, you also had a Latin Klingon, Belana Torres.
Oh, that's right, Belana Torres. Yeah. No, it was a cool show. I liked
it. Had a season or two where it was pretty solid. Mostly the 7 of 9 stuff in the early days, and then it went back to kind of being lame. It never seemed to fulfill its promise. You got a show where you've got literal like insurrectionist terrorists that are having to be integrated into the crew, and like by episode 3, they'd completely forgotten that aspect of it. All the Maquis stuff pretty much fell off immediately, and so for 2 seasons you're just sort of drifting, and then 7 of 9 comes in and livens everything up. But I did like the relationship between Belana Torres and Tom Paris too. That was pretty decent.
I like the aspect that they were lost.
Janeway was just too much mom. Like she was just everybody's mom. It's kind of boring.
But I like the fact that they were lost. Mm-hmm. And so where Star Trek is usually like, well, we're going to Quadrant 7 and Quadrant 12. So they had somewhere to go, and then they get an adventure on the way there. Where this one is just like, you're out in the middle of nowhere, dude. So like shit can happen. Because it didn't even play it up sometimes where like shit wouldn't happen for a long time. Like they would play with time where like, oh, it's been 6 months and really nothing has happened. And I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of a fucked up way to think about it. They're just trying to just get home. They just want to get home. Like that's the whole thing. So
one time they fought the Predator.
Did they? I don't remember that one.
It wasn't a real Predator, but it was basically Predator.
The only thing I remember someone telling me is the first time a woman becomes a captain, she gets lost. I remember someone telling me that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty fucked up. Anyway, other movies with comets. There's
Comet Man.
Oh God.
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man. Oh, close enough.
Creep Show. Meteor shit. Stephen King. What was that movie by James James Gunn.
Oh, Slither.
I mean, heavy metal. Lochnar crashes, turns everybody green.
Shout out Lochnar.
See, what else? I want to say there's another one, man, but I can't. Ain't that how that? No, the critters don't come here in the Comet.
Had to think about it for a second. No, I don't think it's a comet.
Because do you just?
I think that's a triple situation where it's like a down spacecraft or something.
It wasn't a kind of a common thing where they would make one movie like that and it would become popular, and all of a sudden there's like fucking 20 of them popping up right after it.
Well, you got, Armageddon and Deep Impact.
No,
Those
that's
are
true.
More like action movies.
Well, this was one too where this was only supposed to play for a weekend. Like it's less than $1 million movie, something to put out for that agency for that one weekend, and it just overperformed. I think there might have been some midnight showings on it. Did really well on video, did well on cable. Some people still remember today. It's not like a huge movie. It doesn't have the.
I have a Garbage Pail card. Remember that guy I told you that does Garbage Pail Kid cards? He did one of Night of the Comet. I have it in my collection.
What do you mean he did one?
There's a card, so he does it in Garbage Pail style.
Oh, okay.
But it's
So
Night of the Comet, and there's a
stick it.
comet in the background. I think it's like Connie Comet or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's still out there.
I went to the Cold Classic Convention a few years back, and I've got a Night of the Comet mouse pad here. I went to Texas Frightmare Weekend, and I've got a t-shirt. So for me, it would play on Channel 13. It was one of those movies that seemed to get played a lot. Like, it seemed like it played once a quarter or at least a couple times a year or so. And, I was often at home on a Friday night or a Saturday night, so what else did I have to do, right? Especially late at night. Come on, and it was interesting because you had the older sister and the younger sister. And the older sister was a brunette, brown-haired. The younger sister was a blonde, a little bit more curly-haired. One was more of the responsible, mature type. One was the more the bubbly, younger type. And they reminded me of my stepsisters. And so it was kind of cool because, like, by the time I started watching that movie, it would have been the late 80s. And my stepsisters only lived with us for a short period of time. And then they would come over for, like, weekends and stuff. We would still kind of hang out and stuff. But it wasn't like a normal family situation where they're around all the time for very long. But they were around enough to where I got to know them and, enjoyed spending time with them. And so it's kind of neat because you had these two characters that were kind of like my sisters showing up a few times a year and hanging out with me on the weekends. Because you would come on late at night, it was like one of the only things on and something that I actually enjoyed. And so there's that comfort food aspect to it. It was a horror-ish movie and a sci-fi-ish movie, but not really too hard into either one of those things. It's really more of a comedy, adventure comedy, I guess.
I would say, yeah.
So it just had a vibe. It was just fun to hang out with these characters.
The Valley Girls.
Yeah, I liked that you had different kinds of characters in this movie than you had in most movies. It definitely had that 80s Valley Girl thing going on. One thing is I like women, so I like women protagonists. I like movies where you get to do, like, that pass the Bechdel test, where they talk about stuff besides a dude. And they do talk about a dude a fair amount because there's one guy left on Earth as far as they know. And so there's a little bit of them fighting over Hector, even though it's not really a big thing because it's clearly the older sister's going to get with him because that's where the connection is, even though she's the one who's the most blatantly racist in a few scenes of the movie. But, she gets over it. I like the music. It's not great music. It's not A-class music. It's definitely music that you like that's on the soundtrack of an expensive movie. Yeah. You do have the shitty version of Girls Want to Have Fun where they had to get a different singer because they couldn't afford Cyndi Lauper. But of course, they were never going to get Girls Want to Have Fun. It's less than $1 million for the entire production. What are you thinking? The people who talk about having made it, it was just a good time. Like, the director was a good guy and he had a good sense of what he was wanting to do, and he managed to get good people and tell them what he needed, and they came through and got the thing done. So you had a higher quality production that it deserved to have for that kind of money. Everybody had a good time. Everybody seemed to like each other. It's a fun movie. So it's oftentimes you hassle me because you're like, what movies do you like? This is a movie that I really genuinely love because I just dig the vibe of it, and I enjoy those songs, and I enjoy the way it makes me feel. I like at the end, it's a happy ending, and it takes you out of that in kind of a light place. I love movies. Like, this movie is clearly hugely indebted to Omega Man with Charlton Heston, but of course that's the darker, heavier, messianic version of the story, and there's more the light, poppy, goofy version. But I like the way this movie sends me out at the end. What it reminds me of is one of the things I used to love about Saturday Night Live when I watched that regularly is at the end of the show, you've got the cast on the stage, and they start playing their outro music. And that outro music has this sort of melancholy quality to it. It reminds me a lot of Old Lang Syne and how you feel on New Year's Eve, where again, the whole point of Old Lang Syne is to think about people that aren't there, people that you're missing, people that aren't in your life anymore for various reasons, and you're kind of bringing them to mind again. And so, with New Year's, you're always looking to the future, but you're also kind of feeling bad about the things you've lost from your past. That's sort of the point. And Saturday Night Live always gave me that vibe as well, where, the show's over with, and this particular collection of people probably won't be together again. You have the Five Timers Club, you have the people who come back as a host over and over again, but tons of people who host Saturday Night Live, they do it the one time, and that's like the one time they got to do it, and then they go away again, right? So there is that sort of quality to it, but it also, it sort of plays out your weekend. It's Saturday night, you still got Sunday, but you're not going to get to stay up late on Sunday. You got to go to school Monday morning. So you still got a day off, but you don't have that whole day. Like Saturday, you can do whatever the hell you want to, for as long as you can get away with staying up. You can stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning if you want to. You don't have that freedom for Sunday. So Saturday Night Live always played out the last of your weekend full freedom, that last day where you're completely free. And so I love that, but also kind of bums me out because it does bring to mind, okay, my Saturday's on its way out, it's ending, and that's sort of sad too. And one of the things I like with Night of the Comet is Saturday Night Live would end around midnight, and then sometimes I could go to Channel 13 and here's Night of the Comet playing, and I kind of extend that weekend a little bit longer and still continue to have that vibe. And that has that outro music where it's more mellow, that's the Family Ties theme kind of thing going on. But it's a nice, sweet theme. The couple is sort of coupled up at the end. You're glad for them, and they're going to rebuild the world, that kind of shit. And I dug it as a wise movie. And it's a movie that just makes me happy every time I see it. I don't get tired of it. I've watched it many dozens of times at this point, and I just don't ever get tired of it. It's a great movie for me. It's a movie I have a lot of love for, and that's why I want to give it a little acknowledgement. I knew it wasn't going to be y'all's super duper bag or anything like that. I knew we wouldn't get a whole episode out of it. I know you like it, but for the 80s of it all. But I just want to give it that little bit of a shout out, a little bit of acknowledgement, and probably wrap it up on some other conversations that, mix it together, essentially. But this is the 40th anniversary. It's also a Christmas movie, and so I figured we'd run this probably the last week of November to get in early on Christmas, since we won't, scheduling-wise, we probably won't have time to get one in there. So, here's our Thanksgiving episode or Christmas episode with Night of the Comet's 40th anniversary. Anything else to add?
Shouldn't we be watching Die Hard?
Die Hard's also one of those atypical Christmas movies. You can pair it up. I think they go reasonably well together. You've got Mac 10s in both of them, I think, or Uzis at least. Semi-automatic, sub-auto. What do you call the smaller assault rifles? It's not a rifle, obviously.
You're talking to the wrong.
Yeah, I know. Wrong people.
But if it's a
we need old dude for that.
I was going to say, who we need for that one.
Okay, so anything else to add, though? You did mention that you thought that Catherine Mary Stewart was hot.
Yes.
Had you seen her in anything else?
She was in The Last Starfighter.
Yep.
I'm trying to think.
This dude's memory just absolutely is a goddamn Rubik's Cube to me.
Why?
This dude cannot remember shit that happens to me like
hours ago.
Life-changing events that I will describe to him in detail, but he will pull out fucking facts like that. Oh, well, she was in The Last Starfighter. Oh, of course she was. What are we talking about?
Do you even know The Last Starfighter?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay. I got it. I picked that up at Texas Front Row as well.
That's a fucking fantastic movie.
Did you ever see The Apple?
Oh, the musical?
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay.
It's all ish.
She's in that.
Yeah, because she's like.
She's the Eve type character.
Yeah.
So
I never saw.
What's this woman's name again? I forgot.
Catherine Mary Stewart.
Catherine Mary Stewart. You guys are fucking rattling off for IMDb. That I guarantee you has 2 hits. And
No,
it's
I
like,
think
she had a career. She had a bit of career.
She's aged extremely well too, so she's remained super duper hot.
I think I had a crush on her when I was a kid. I just remember this. I remember The Last Starfighter. She did some other like horror type movies.
I wouldn't say, because again, reminds me of my sisters, so I wouldn't say crush necessarily. They're both attractive women. She's very pretty.
She's the only one.
Okay, she's the one you crushed on.
Yeah.
But anyway, they talked about the Apple in Electric Boogaloo, so I thought you might have remembered.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. I remember. She had a little bit of. She had a career in the '80s. She popped up a lot. I'm trying to think of other stuff, but now you got me all fucking shy.
We got a lot of love for giving. We got a lot of life for living. We're gonna find our place among the stars. Hey, I know this dream is far from over.
Starting tonight, gonna start it all over.
We're gonna find something. I know that we can learn to love again.
Yeah, I got that at Party City, and it's like I've never seen that shirt anywhere before or since, and I just really like that color dot design and everything else. So
Too big.
Is it a colon Tusca knockoff or something?
it looks very colon to me, yeah, or Tusca. It could be Tusca, but yeah, I think you're right. Colon has maybe it's heck. I don't know.
Did you know
it's still rage?
we have made a lot of fun of Don Heck through the years? Mm-hmm. We're on those auction sites. If Don Heck drew it, shit's fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a lot of it out there, and it's all Silver Age.
And it's all Silver Age Avengers
A
characters.
whole lot of Iron Man.
Whole lot of Iron Man, Captain America. Shit.
But are people? Is it legitimately worth that, or is it people just speculating?
It's what people are getting for now.
I don't know. Just prices. I went on a couple of the eBay things, and it just seemed unrealistic.
Well, the eBay things, you don't know if they ever sell. The auction sites, they sell. You can see what they sold for. This sold for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that, those Tills Spins 39 pages I sent you. It sold for $500,000. Sold that. They paid the auction house that.
For one page, or
eBay.
was it multiple pages?
It was one page.
For $500,000.
It was the first drawn appearance of Iron Man ever. We're not talking about the first appearance. The first drawn appearance of Iron Man ever.
So
What does that mean? I don't understand what that.
that's the page where
Oh, the actual
Iron Man
drawing
was
where he's first drawn into
on the page.
So issue 1, page 1, which is basically, although it tells us the
Tales
side
of
issue.
39, page 7, when he first is laying on the fucking table before Yin-Sin powers him up.
Okay,
So you're like, Tales of Suspense 39 itself,
right.
tens of thousands of dollars. The one original page is, you can't fucking count how much that shit's fucking worth.
Damn, $500,000. That's crazy.
Half of me. I just couldn't believe that so many pages from that issue on that.
Still survived.
Yeah, like how the hell did that many issues survive?
Well, I
from
told
that
you I
shit?
watched something where they were interviewing Jack Kirby, and he had like Fantastic Four page 6 issue 2, and he was using it to hold his X-Acto knives. And they were like talking to him, and like you can see like there's artwork, and he's just using it to hold stuff. I was just like, man, that's worth millions of dollars now.
Wow, yeah. It was worth nothing back then to them, though.
Yeah. Well, then they used to not even get their artwork back. Like Marvel would just stack
Oh,
it.
absolutely. The art returns didn't start until like the 70s. That was when the concessions was made when they started fighting for rights and stuff.
I think I remember reading somewhere one time where they were talking about how like they would just go out in the back and dumpster and just like throw all that artwork in the dumpster. And I'm just like, oh my god.
They gave it away to tours. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the kids would come in, they'd give it to the kids. There was some prizes, like letter writing encouragement. Yeah, get your letter friend and we'll see a page of artwork, that kind of thing.
That's fucking insane.
And then, of course, the 70s, you had the fan pros come in. They knew what it was worth to them. So a bunch of them were stealing stuff. I think there are a few people that were, that I won't name, but come to mind, that are famous people that were stealing the artwork out of the offices because nobody recognized their value and they were often getting destroyed anyway. So they're just like, I'm just going to take all of this.
I think I read somewhere where they said that if you own a Jack Kirby page, 99% is stolen.
Yeah.
Like Jack never sold his stuff, never got his stuff back. So if you got it, you basically stole it. There's no way until he started getting his stuff. But then when he got his stuff, he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So
He just didn't want Marvel to have it.
Yeah, because I think the same thing. I can't
Well,
remember.
the truth was there wasn't very much. That's part of the reasons why they fought him for so long. Is then they had to reveal, oh, by the way, our staffers stole all this artwork, and we don't actually have any of your artwork.
Okay, I think the article started with Eric Larson like losing like all his majority of his Savage Dragon artwork to like a fire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, it wasn't the Savage Dragon artwork. Yeah, he had a fire in the early 90s, if I remember correctly. So it was everything but the Savage Dragon artwork. Now he lost all the shit from his childhood. So all the little mini comics he made with that character and some of the fan work that he like maybe it's like the graphic art, whatever that magazine was called. But he didn't lose the actual comic book published artwork for the most part, I don't think. I think he has all that because they recently put out an artist edition. I don't know if it's out yet or it's just been solicited. But it covers like the first Savage Dragon material. So they just have to exist to be scanned to be part of that. Because his high resolution scans that they need. So if the art had been destroyed back in the 90s, they wouldn't have had the resources to make that book today. Thanks. You want to talk about your Godzilla stuff while you have a microphone handy? Paquita had expressed an interest in watching Monarch, Age of Monsters, whatever it's called. And she tapped out after the first episode because she thought all the characters were unlikable. I made it to the third episode because I was trying to give Kurt Russell a chance to help win me back. I'm not into this stuff, so I did not carry on with Monarch. Did you guys watch that?
I have watched about the first 4 episodes. I enjoy it quite a bit.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
The Apple TV series? You don't have Apple TV, right?
We might.
Okay.
I bootleg a lot of streaming services.
Well, it's the one that's showing the history of the Monarch organization from the Godzilla and King Kong movies, and specifically it's got Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell playing the same character across decades of time.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but it didn't win me over, unfortunately. Okay, I just figured I'd get the Monarch part out of the way, and then I'll stop talking because you guys are going to talk about Godzilla -1.
We saw Godzilla -1. This was probably a month ago.
Probably, yeah.
Was it
on the last
pre-Christmas or
day? It was on the
post-Christmas?
last day that it was supposed to be in the theaters.
That's right. We went and saw it. Lots of hubbub about this movie. People are ranting and raving. It needs to win awards and whatnot.
How was the theater?
The theater had one guy in it.
Besides us?
He was in a Rascal in one of the motorized vehicles, covered in horror con shit.
And his ringtone was?
His ringtone, I think, was the Mike Myers. Dung, 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 dung.
Because it did go off a couple times.
Yeah. One of during the climax of the film.
I thought Michael Myers was going to... I thought the shape was going to come out of the movie.
And then when we left the movie, he was parked in a handicap spot, obviously. I probably didn't even include that detail. In a Rascal. And he had like a Mike Myers silhouette on the back window of his F-150 and all sorts of horror stickers and stuff. And I took a picture of it and sent it to Diablo Frank, and he immediately was like, I fucking recognize that guy. Small world, folks. Anyway, that was it. It was me, Fix-It, and this one...
The Rascal.
This one wily horror movie fan rascal in the movie theater. We thought it was just like okay.
Yeah, I'm shocked at the people. And now again, it's a piece of art, subjective. Everyone has different tastes. I'm cool with that.
Well, everybody can be wrong too, but go ahead.
But yeah, they kind of like skeet all over, and I'm just like, I mean, it was for what it is. It's very, very enjoyable. It's a low budget creature feature, which I enjoyed.
That in my opinion doesn't look low budget.
No, the Godzilla chasing boat scene was amazing.
They did for what you hear the budget was for this movie. I can't remember what it was. Diablo Frank could probably look it up, but I think he's dying on the ground over there.
I think it was like 5 or so.
Like
it was
nothing.
very small.
It's
amount
almost.
Of money.
I think it's almost at like $1 billion now.
No, it doesn't make that much money. Really?
It's up there. Like it's made shitloads of money, or maybe 100 million. Maybe no.
I mean,
wrong.
that's a big difference.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. My bad. I think
$1 million to $1 billion.
Yeah, my bad. Well, they're just saying for the budget and what it's projected to end at, it's like ridiculous what it's making.
Well, again, let's go out far and say it's 20 million as a for instance. If it's made 100 millions, that's a 5-fold return. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that, especially for a Japanese language movie.
Yeah, well, it is subtitled. It is made 50+ million. Yes, I'm trying to find which is unprecedented.
Now, again, one of the best scenes,
Global is at 85.8.
One of the best scenes, of course.
Are we watching a video on your phone that you recorded in the movie
Yes.
theater? Good.
So, just that scene was amazing.
Okay, you need to explain the scene, bro.
So the scene is Godzilla chasing. Well, there's like memes of that shit all over the place now. Where Godzilla's chasing the boat. Stuff like that is what made Godzilla, this film, amazing to me. Like that's something I've never seen Godzilla do. Chase a small boat like Jaws, and
It was a
we
very
need bigger boat.
Jaws-esque.
We need a bigger boat moment.
Yeah.
And so
But the way they were able to blend what was obviously like a movie prop with the boat,
CG, yeah.
with whatever low budget CG that was, looked so good.
Yeah.
This movie had no business looking this good. But also the story was like extremely obvious what was going to happen.
Well-
the okie dokes were not okie dokes. I wasn't like crying at the end of it or anything like that. Like,
Well, so the movie starts with Godzilla being seen by a kamikaze pilot who abandons his mission,
which
and
I
he's
thought
like,
was cool.
Okay, and he's a small lizard. Godzilla's not Godzilla yet. He's kind of a T-Rexy type guy, and I thought that was kind of cool. This guy to me was the Sisyphus of the movie because every time Godzilla showed up, his life went to shit. He's like, I'm doing okay. Life goes to shit.
But
Godzilla
I like that angle that whenever he makes his way back to Japan, and Japan is obviously just completely wasted from the war, that like he's having to hide the fact that he was a kamikaze pilot, because as soon as somebody hears that he's a kamikaze pilot, but he's not dead, because like if you're a kamikaze pilot, you should be dead. There was no reason you should have survived.
The honor.
Yeah, right. And I liked that whole plot. I liked that at no point they tried to do this like, fuck the U.S. for bombing us, right? It was almost like they were not proud of the government forcing all these people to, and you know what I mean? Like, I was just not expecting that. So those things were cool. I thought the visual effects were cool. I liked the kamikaze pilot
for now
narrative for now, and then I liked that because I was expecting it to be some like anti-U.S. fest for some reason. I don't know why I was. When I saw it was very much rooted in post-Hiroshima Japan, I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so that was refreshing too. You take over. Go ahead.
So they're encountering Godzilla. Apparently, fish from the deep sea start popping up. That's how you know he's somewhere around.
That seemed familiar to me though. Like that has happened in another one of these movies, but I could be wrong.
This Godzilla's kind of a smaller, not weaker, but he's growing into his power. I guess he's absorbing radiation. He's giving off radiation. I like the Godzilla. I thought it was kind of weird where he's chasing the boat. That's the scene I just played. Where he's chasing the boat. He eats the mine. It blows up in his mouth, and I was like, oh shit! And then they show him immediately fucking T2 that shit just and he like reforms his mouth, and I'm like, okay, so Godzilla's kind of like a giant starfish. You cut off a piece and it just kind of grows back. Okay, cool. I mean, okay, that's fine. That makes sense. He's Godzilla. I thought it was weird that the military were like, I did like the scene. I did like the part where like the military can't make a move because the U.S. military can't make a move because then the Russians might think they're getting ready for a war. Yeah. So I thought, okay, that's kind of a cool way to take out the U.S. military. But I thought it was weird. It's like, okay, we're gonna leave it to the fishermen and they're gonna take out Godzilla.
Well, it's because hold
on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the kamikaze pilot goes goes home, runs into a woman, a homeless woman who just happens to have a child that she found on the street as well that was given to her by her dying mom, and he slowly builds this family. And I did like that little montage where he goes to work, he's slowly building his house. He's still ashamed. The neighbor's always throwing shade at him for not killing himself, but he's slowly building this relationship with this woman, but it's not really progressing. And the little girl wants to call him dad, but he keeps telling her it's not. He kind of being a dick about it. I kind of like that. I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a very deep like story. Like, okay, like most Godzilla movies, when you watch it, I don't give a shit about the humans. I want to see kaiju fight. That's all I think about Godzilla.
Yeah.
I want to see dinosaur or giant monsters fight tanks and jets and each other. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be a little different. I'm on board with this. This is kind of cool. And he's slowly building his life. He gets a motorcycle. They fix up the house. He has friends now. He goes around. He's kind of like a minesweeper, which I thought was kind of cool, kind of dope, where he's like shooting mines in the ocean. Like, okay, this is kind of cool. Now every time Godzilla comes in his dude's life, his life goes to shit. Just happened. Now when Godzilla attacks the city, which was dope, and he's walking through the city and they're doing the Godzilla music and he's chewing up, he just happens to attack the subway that his girl's on. She survives by falling into the ocean. Godzilla, again, the guy's runs into her. Godzilla does that was pretty dope, that atomic blast that he was doing.
Yeah.
Where he would blast.
So this is a thing that I think a lot of these kind of movies suffer from. Like, one, Godzilla's scale is not consistent throughout this movie. Like, when he's attacking the city, he's enormous. But when he's chasing the boat, he doesn't look so big, right? Like, or whenever they execute their final plan to, like, kill him, he's not as big as he was when he was attacked. Like, he was towering over skyscrapers in that scene, and now suddenly he's not. That kind of messed with me a little bit.
Oh, I didn't think about
Two
that.
is the power levels. That, like, his Godzilla blast is like multiple nuke bombs. It's like there's nobody left. The country of Japan would be gone at this point, right? But so that's another thing too. Whereas then he's having trouble like fighting some ships, and it's like what? Like he fighting
boats.
He like blew
Wait.
But
And he's
what
taking
you're
out
saying,
battleships.
there's a lot of serendipity involving the guy and Godzilla. Like he just happens to come to Japan in the port town where this guy lives, and it's like what? And then he attacks a subway.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's the boulder. He is Sisyphus.
Yeah.
That's his boulder.
He attacks the train that his wife, or not wife,
Is on.
Happens to be on. Yeah, and that was kind of that thread kind of lost me too. Maybe that rings a little more. Maybe you have to be Japanese to maybe identify with that relationship. But like he just refuses to accept that this woman that he's been living with for all these years, that he's taking care of, that he's getting this job to risking his life to provide money for, and this kid, he just looks at them as she's just like a mannequin in his house, like a pet. Yeah, they're like two pets he's taking care of, where she has like kind of fallen in love with him.
Yeah,
and a bunch of dudes they run into are like, wait, she's not your wife, and that's not your kid, and he's like, no, why would you ever say that? Why would you even assume that? And they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe because you guys live together and sleep together. And even like at that point, I was just like, okay, it's like kind of distracting in the movie.
Well, to me, the distraction part was, of course, Godzilla attacks his girlfriend / wife / nobody, falls in the water. She gets to him somehow. Godzilla's about to do his mega blast. She pushes him between buildings. The mega blast, I'm assuming, decimates everything.
Everything.
And I mean, it's like not even hurricane weather. It's the winds are just demolishing it. Cars are flipping, and she vanishes. So I'm thinking, oh wow, like dude, they're killing humans, and like holy shit, like this is like deep. Like this guy is gonna hate Godzilla because it took away the one woman that he kind of was starting to have feelings for. Okay, and so the local population decides that we're gonna take out Godzilla. How? Well, we got this idea where we're gonna attach floaties to him. Oh no, we're gonna I guess clothesline him.
No. It was basically like, you know, when you go scuba dive, you have to like adjust to the
I got that the pressure's different.
They're gonna sink him to the bottom, and if that doesn't kill them, then they're gonna float him back to the top real fast and blow him up, right? And then at the same time, they need to like get him to go into the trap. They're like, we need a pilot. And then Kamikaze guy's like, hey, I was a pilot.
and then of course he goes,
maybe I was too good of a pilot.
And he becomes friends, or he reconnects with the guy the
other sole survivor from the original Godzilla attack on the island. And so the movie is building up to he's going to have his Kamikaze moment. He's going to be able to
sacrifice himself for the greater good.
His wife, the
greater good.
The woman that he's realized he actually did have feelings for is now gone. He finally, everybody still hates him because he's this failed, shamed pilot. He gets a chance to save Japan and do it by kamikazing himself.
He's going to leave the money with the neighbor to take care of the child.
Who lost her kids in the war, so she's like happy to do it. He'll be giving her this daughter that she never had, or son. I don't remember what the gender of this kid was. It don't matter. I don't want to assume this child's gender. And so you think the movie's all setting up for this, which would, like, in my opinion, that's what you go with. Because it's obvious that's what's going to happen. He's even telling the dude, like, don't rig up an ejector seat seat. I don't need enough fuel. Take the fuel tanks out. We are not going to need all that.
Put more bomb in
More
there.
more bomb, less fuel. Right? And you're like, so yeah, that's kind of obvious that he's going to get his redemption moment. But the redemption moment is obvious because it's rad. The main hero is going to sacrifice himself. It's going to pay off.
What did I tell you it was? The Independence Day moment.
Yes, it's the.
Hey, you guys! Where he's gonna slam the jet and take out the giant enemy,
Well,
and I'm like,
that was Sloth from
My
Goonies
bad.
you just did.
well, no, didn't he say something like that? Like,
He says something. I don't know.
that's Randy Quaid. He's fucking
It's
insane.
random. Yeah. But that's like a legit
Badass
the
moment,
main
yeah.
character. You in the movie, the main character.
And I remember thinking-
kamikazeing.
I remember telling you, I thought the movie was gonna end on like that, kind of like, wow, that's just like a real serious, like it's a monster movie, but it's like this man, redeemed himself because he saved Japan by sacrificing himself. And
Anyway, long story short, he doesn't kamikaze.
He parachutes out.
He parachutes out, and then as soon as he lands, they go, "Hey, guess what?"
wait, you're missing the best part.
Oh, okay.
So it hit Godzilla, and he shatters into pieces because apparently he came up so fast, he froze.
He like froze, and they shatter him. That's just whatever. I mean, look, he's a giant lizard. You got to defeat him some way. And at that point, they'd made him completely invincible. It was one of those things where they made him too powerful in their own movie, and they had to sort of figure out some way to like.
So we're
fix
gonna
it.
freeze him and break him T2 style, and he's gonna come back together somehow.
So as soon as he lands, this person goes up and goes, "Hey, she's still alive at the hospital. Go check it out." And he's like, "What?" And then he goes to the hospital, and she's there just like perfectly fine.
With one eye
and then
missing.
the movie ends, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So again, if you're gonna compare this to the old Japanese Godzilla movies, absolutely, this is the fucking Godfather, the Goodfellas, the Martin Scorsese kaiju movie of Godzilla movies. Not as good as some of the other stuff though. Like, I personally like, it's the Kong versus Godzilla. I like that. It's fat Godzilla. It's goofy Godzilla. I even like Monarch Godzilla. It's the same Godzilla. Best Godzilla. This one he could have been a giant squid. He could have been a giant dolphin. Like, it wasn't Godzilla. And I get it. At the end when they blow up, they show that chunk of flesh start growing. So I remember telling you, wait, are we gonna get multiple Godzillas? Like, is it like a really starfish? Like, oh shit, a tail grew a Godzilla, the leg grew a Godzilla. Like, and again, I'm not shitting on the movie too much.
I think you and I both agreed it was entertaining.
Yes.
It was perfect. The movie was perfectly fine. But like, I think people are calling for like Oscar nominations and stuff. I think we need to chill out.
Yeah.
Like, let's chill out a little bit.
I'm shocked how like people who I enjoy their art are just like, it's the greatest movie of the year, and I'm like, you must not go to the movies that often.
Applaud the craftsmanship with the
Yes.
budget and the use of the budget. Applaud some of the choices they made with the characters in the movie. And maybe you applaud it by comparing it to much larger Godzilla budget movies that were like complete dog shit. If you want to take that as a win too, that's fine. But as like a film on its own, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's relax, everybody.
I accidentally watched some of Godzilla 98 recently.
How do you accidentally watch?
I was doing stuff on my phone and
That's
it was
like-
on, and I was on my phone longer than I thought I was going to be.
Were you
so I caught
showing it
more
to
of the
somebody you
movie.
captured and accidentally copied?
Yeah, and that's really not a good movie at all. That's a really, really terrible movie. Who thought that cast made any sense at all? Why are they all like?
You mean the animal? The video recorder or the news? Well, we're talking about Godzilla.
We're talking about Matthew Broderick
Yeah.
and a beret.
We're talking about Nickelback.
The
We're
guy
talk-
that the
we're
guy
talking
that
about
did,
the-
the guy that does all the Simpson voices.
Oh, Hank Azaria.
Yeah, he's the animal. That's his name, the animal.
I didn't catch his nom de
Wait, no.
journalism.
Sorry, Nickelback was Spider-Man, not.
Yes, I was gonna say, what are you talking about?
Puff
Daddy.
Dylan.
No, Puff Daddy.
Wallflowers.
No,
That's
it's
it.
Puff Daddy. wasn't
No,
it?
you're right. You're both. They did the Cashmere rap
Yeah,
version
yeah.
as well for that movie.
I
Yeah.
remember I thought that was not.
But
wait,
they also,
wait.
stop. We're talking about they also had No Shelter by Rage Against the Machine, which is a amazing song. One moment, please.
So real quick, fun fact. I remember watching, and this is back in the day, I'm watching what was that? LJS, Home Shopping Network.
Sure.
And they used to sell comic books. And so I remember they were showing the products for Godzilla because the Godzilla movie was going to come. And no one had seen Godzilla. All you had seen is his foot.
The promotion for that movie was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Leaned hard in Jurassic Park territory.
But I remember you saw the foot, everything. And I remember watching that and they
They made a
accidentally.
point of having the foot smash dinosaur bones to
I
let you
didn't
know
realize.
this is Jurassic Park times 10.
Well, hold on. So I remember watching that, and they accidentally leaked what the monster would look like because they actually showed toys and a poster.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that was a big deal. Now, this pre-internet, well, there's,
Sure.
I mean, the internet was there, but I didn't go to fucking
You
message
didn't
board to
have
see
the
this.
dissemination then that you have today.
Yes.
And
And
it
I
wasn't
just
like
remember-
instantaneous, you know.
I just remember it was a big deal because people were talking about like, wait, so that's what it looks like? Like it deflated that whole buildup because people were like, that's what it, because I remember they were just like, it looked like a giant T-Rex. Like,
Right.
And so I just remember that and thinking, oh, that was hilarious that they fucking ruined the movie. Which, I mean,
Well, and the thing is, too, we've seen that's the area where you have the most problem with leaks. Like, there's a recent Captain America New World Order leak related to toys. And that movie won't be out until next year.
oh, really? What's the leak?
Red Hulk, yeah. No, I mean, they've got the Lego minifig. They're gonna do Red Hulk in that one for sure.
Oh, okay.
It looks like he's probably gonna be like the big bad ultimately of the movie is gonna be Red Hulk. So. And it's Harrison Ford Red Hulk besides. So he's gonna move like. I don't think Harrison Ford's gonna do the actual mocap.
He's gonna whip out a whip or something. Well, okay. Well, we'll see what happens.
So what do you like about Monarch? Because I didn't. So I don't like these characters.
I haven't seen it all. I actually like the Kurt Russell character. I like the fact that
he's
they do
fine,
that.
But he comes in too late, and there's not enough.
You gotta, dude. You gotta let it build up, man.
Well, I'm not a kaiju guy. I'm not a dinosaur guy. So I realized that this wasn't for me and goes out.
It's not a fucking it's not Big Trouble in Little China Part 2 or anything like that, dude. It's definitely a slow burn in terms of a kaiju movie. So I actually enjoy it so far. I do need to watch the last, I think, 3 episodes or whatever the ending are. I haven't watched it all.
Yeah, it's like 6 or 8, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen like the first 3. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I just hate all of the young characters. They're all just annoying.
I like it because I'm familiar with that universe, with the Kong and Godzilla, the King of Monsters.
I just want another Skull Island. All this other shit can go away. I just want another something of that caliber, that quality. I wish that they were having that director do stuff. I don't know why he's not working on some stuff. The worst thing they leveled against him was he inappropriately kissed a porn star, and it's like kissed, like on the mouth, and that's it. So I don't see why there's any problem with him directing shit.
How do you do that inappropriately?
Right. Don't get me wrong. Let's not go there. Then you get into the whole rights of sex workers and consent and all that kind of stuff. I don't think a kiss is disqualifying though. So make that guy get that guy some work. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
They keep getting the guy who did Godzilla. We didn't even like Godzilla that much, and then he keeps directing these damn movies.
I missed the Godzilla 98 conversation. Does anybody defend that movie? Is that like the prequel?
I don't think so, but it's like I don't understand how. I realized that how is Independence Day, because Independence Day was successful. They're like, okay, we'll just do this all over again with a bunch of random people, and it's going to work a second time. It's like, no, it really doesn't.
Well, let's be honest. I always thought the stupidest part is when they go find a pregnancy test, and they're like, "Oh, she's pregnant,"
forgot about
and I'm
that.
like, "Okay."
Well, and the Thrift Village, Anne Heche is the love interest, and then fucking Leon's professional shows up. And how about he just accidentally leaves a tape lying around for the reporter to steal, and instead of like putting him in a brig or something, it's just like, well, pack your things and leave, so the French can come kidnap you and use you as part of their mission. I was like, what? What?
I just remember the merch was good. Like I remember it had like a Godzilla cup thing that was pretty rad.
Thumbzilla is still on the internet.
Okay, and then wasn't it like underground or something in the subways?
Yeah, it was going through the
Or am I thinking closed? I don't know.
They're setting traps of like fish to trap the Godzilla, and then it turns out the Godzilla is under the streets and comes out one of the manholes.
The worst part to me was the Godzilla was scared to get hit by gunfire. Like it's dodging. I remember I remember watching. I'm like, wait, when does Godzilla dodge a missile? Like,
well, it didn't dodge the missile. It was cold blooded, so there was nothing. There's no heat source.
No. But they're firing.
The missiles couldn't lock on.
But they're firing at it, and it's like dodging between buildings and
it's
shit.
that large, it can move so fast, it can dodge bullets.
Yeah. I just remember seeing that, and I was thinking, oh, this is fucked. Like he's supposed to that just bounces off him, and he screams, and they fall down. They didn't even have like atomic blast, right? Or fire.
I do stop before the ending. I just know that
I've seen it once.
Is they pull back and you see that there are still viable eggs, so that you know they could do a sequel if they wanted to. And thank God they never did.
Like I said, I've only seen it once in the theaters. I do own it. I've never seen it. I think it's still in its plastic wrap.
Yeah.
But
I just couldn't believe it. I think everybody realized this as soon as they fuck the Godzilla's like iconic design.
Yeah.
Iconic design, and that's the one thing you're going to change. You can do pretty much whatever story you want with Godzilla. Nobody cares about the story, but it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
You got to have shoot him in the fucking moon and have him terrorize the moon. Nobody cares as long as it's still Godzilla. You make him look like some weird like chameleon thing. It's bizarre.
They made him. Yeah, he looked like a T-Rex.
Yeah, like a weird T-Rex with like a square head or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's not massage. It's all misogyny. There's nothing wrong with the movie. It's just
You know
there's a
what?
girl Godzilla. You're all a bunch of misogynists.
There's gotta be some YouTube videos where they've done like what's your podcast you guys listen to?
How did this get made?
How did this get made? They have had to have done a Godzilla one, right?
I'm pretty sure they have. Actually, I think they have.
Okay, I gotta because sure I need to hear interviews. I gotta find interviews where they talk to people who made this show or that movie and like
What's his name? The
justify the
director,
design.
Emmerich?
Oh, Roland Emmerich did that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, because they had success with Stargate, and then Independence Day, and then Godzilla, and then it's pretty much all downhill from there. Because I think most everything else that those guys did not perform very well.
Yeah, like I want to know.
They did the one with Jake Gyllenhaal's outrunning the Ice Age and shit. They did all that kind of dumb shit.
Day After Tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah,
Was
that was one of theirs.
Never saw it.
Shit, never saw it either.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to Day After Tomorrow cast. This is episode 0. Look forward to many other episodes talking about Jake Gyllenhaal's Day After Tomorrow and how it
whether it
relates
falls.
to 1998. Godzilla.
Where do you get those shelves at?
Which shelves? These?
Yeah.
I go to mostly I go to the same one. I go to Office Supply. So I go to places where what they do is they go to auctions and they buy office equipment after a place goes out of business because you're going to get that higher quality material, like stronger builds. When you go to an actual Office Depot and places like that, it's always the cheapest, crappiest stuff. The like law offices, they don't buy from places like Office Depot. They may buy like office supplies there. They're not going to buy their actual shares and their shells because they're too low quality. Everything we bought there has fallen apart on us within a few years. Like I need a new chair. I bought this crummy chair from Target just as a stand-in temporarily. But it's until I can go back and get, because I want some more shelves. I'm addicted to shelves. But also I get more stuff on the higher quality shelves than these crappy Target, Kmart, whatever Walmart ones I've still got, the leftover ones. And also I can put stuff on top of them where these aren't stable enough to where I really like putting anything on top of them. So all you do is go to office furniture, like used office furniture, or
How much do you usually pay for?
it just depends. I would say probably for the nicer ones are usually about $2 to $3, usually about $250. Some of them are
$250?
Yeah, $200.
Holy shit!
But yeah, I mean you pay for quality because like these shelves are just okay, but like they hold up some pretty heavy duty stuff. The ones in the back,
Fucking thing.
the ones in the back are the really good ones. Those I can put full on. I can put on nothing but omnibuses in there. They'd hold up. Right now, I still got my back issues in there because they're not as sightly. These looked better. Like if I tried to, like the other ones are wider, and so I lost the bookcase by putting them in here. That's why I had to move them in the back room. But it bugs me because all my heavy, nice hardcovers are in this room because they look nice. All the back issues that are on shelves are back there, and those could handle this a lot better than that could. So hopefully, the plan is to try to get as much stuff switched over out of floppies and into trades and hardcovers as possible. And so as that happens, or as I just get rid of stuff I don't like anyway, then I'll have more room for the nicer stuff. And I'll move the heavier stuff in the back room. There's still some heavy stuff back there that I just couldn't trust on these shelves, like the big damn Sin City and the monster-sized Hellboy. That's all back there because it's too big.
Oh, you bought those big ass fucking books?
The Stray Bullets one. Actually, monster-sized Hellboy's been on 50% on Amazon for a little while now. 51% off on Amazon. So if you really had a Jonesport, you can get a whole lot.
My little room, I don't have enough space. So I've kind of done what you did where I'm going in and taking stuff that I don't want. I actually took probably about 15, 20 like trades I didn't want. Just took it to the public library. Yeah. Donated it, and they're going to sell them for like $1. Yeah. And I'm like, that's fine. I'd rather give it to them because I go to half off. They'll be like, oh, we'll give you 50 cents. Right. Fuck you. Yeah. So at least this way the library makes a little money. And plus
and some kids get exposure too. Yeah.
Well, plus they're super, dude. I've gone there before and like their debit card machine's not working. I picked up like the Alien omnibus. Sure. The little one. The
not
fourth
the hardcover, but the smaller one.
Yeah, the smaller ones. So those things go for like $60. I got it for $1.
Well, you know about the Dark Horse one?
Yeah, the Dark Horse.
Okay, yeah.
But I got it for like $1. I've picked up some trades there, like comic book trades. Which one's the best one I've gotten? I picked up almost the entire Star Wars, the animated series, all the DVDs. I picked them up for $1 a set. So I spent like $6 and I got the entire set. Like, because the library, stuff's donated to them. They go through it and make sure it's clean. There's nothing wrong with it. And they just throw up there. So like hardbacks are $2, DVDs are $1, regular trades are $1, regular books are $1, and then like newspapers or any magazines are 50 cents. Dude, I'll go there. I'll drop like $6 so you can walk away with some good stuff. And sometimes they're even getting rid of their old stuff. So I've gone there before that. It was just none but trades. But they're beat this shit. But still, I picked them up. Some Marvel ones. I picked up a Infinity Gauntlet for 50 cents. So that's going to be my travel version. So cool. Go to your public library. Support.
But it's not one of those things like Ghostbusters or Beetlejuice. Now that Beetlejuice is back, it's a reminder that that cartoon was really awesome. Like the Beetlejuice was a really good cartoon.
Oh, fantastic cartoon!
Yeah, real Ghostbusters was a fantastic cartoon. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, no, duh, yeah, let's do more with this franchise. You can see where the passion comes from and how you were probably catching these kids early in their formative years to have such a commitment to it 40 years down the line, 30 years down the line.
Yeah, I think people do kind of forget about the Beetlejuice cartoon. I don't want to have some Beetlejuice podcast, but have you seen Beetlejuice
Not yet? No, you?
Nope.
Yeah, I went ahead and I listened to the projection booth on it. So the consensus was that it's surprisingly good, but they're still sort of grading it in that like Axel F category where it's much better than they expected, but they still have major problems with it. But like they liked it way better than any of the Ghostbusters sequel thingies. They generally liked it. They just had qualms with it.
Yeah, I heard it's just running on nostalgia, but it's enough to still make it like a decent movie.
Well, and it apparently it's a lot of practical effects plus some stop motion. motion. Claymation. Not just stop motion, but claymation. And that a lot of that stuff is really good. It's just there's also memorabilia stuff, fan service stuff that took exception to, and that it just gets bogged down in its own lore, and it's not interesting enough to have to deal with all this lore.
I'm not going to continue this conversation because we're not talking about Beetlejuice.
No worries. But I'll probably throw out.
I refuse to derail this.
My thing. I think we're done with that anyway, and I'm probably going to drop in a rolled spine while I'm on the road. So it's like, okay, I'll drop a little Beetlejuice into the mix as well.
All right, man. I'm crashing.
Understood. Well, you said 11:30. It's 10:55. You got enough time to wind down and go to sleep. Thanks for doing this. Great talking with you.
The only way Rolled Spine could get a female on this show about a girl power movie was to pay for an artificial one. But hey, I bet you're glad you don't have to listen to any more sloppy human mouth sounds. Pro tip: popcorn and podcasts don't mix. At least not at the recording level. Frank can't remember if he's used a robot on this show before, but he also doesn't give a fuck. So here I am. Also, besides the Omega Man, he should have probably noted the similarities between Night of the Comet and his supposed goddamned all-time favorite movie, Dawn of the Dead. Whatever happened to that podcast, Frank? Also, it's the 30th anniversary of Pulp Fiction, which is probably yours and Mac's real favorite movie. But it's such a cliche to say that. When are you doing that podcast, numbnuts? Anyway, let's get the social media shit done, so I can silently imagine what Thanksgiving turkey tastes like. Or any meat. Any kind of flesh at all, really. So-called people that claim to listen to your last 2 episodes on action figures and original comic art include the Batpod, Billet Spy Vinyl, Billy Hines, On My Way to Bluer Skies, Who Added of Comic Art Collecting with Derek W.C. Enjoyed this a lot. As someone with a decent collection of comic art, based solely on books and artists I love, the idea of character-based collecting is anathema to me. But I was left wanting in on the chat. Canoes added of the Toy Galaxy episode. Need to listen tomorrow at work. Continuing, Chris Dunford, David A. Quinley 2, Dead End Kid, who wrote, I have been waiting, in a Beckett-like manner, for exactly this topic. Having finished a successful ink session, I tune in now to learn the secrets of pricing, because I still don't know how to price my Silvestri impression. Continuing, Derek W.C., Eugene R. Hendricks, voice actor, home studio, Fanholes Podcast, History of Comics on Film, The Irredeemable Shag, J&T Productions, Julia Rowell, Keith G. Baker, King Dinosaur, Paul Hoppe, hashtag Keep Masks in Healthcare, Relatively Geeky Podcast Network, Richard Field, Superbound, and Talk Nerdy to Me.
God damn, ass Demasi burps. Fuck me, dude.
My bad, dude.
Holy shit.
That was me.
Yeah, it's like a goddamn haunting.
It's a curse.
Lurking in the shadows.
It's a curse. It's a curse.
Should have had them put some holy water in that Dutch Brothers.
Dude, that was a small burp too, man. Hold on. I got one more for you. Hold on.
Please don't.
Gotta move it on the side. There it goes. The beast came out. All right, man. You should be good now.